Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Mishal Saeed, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and really those strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're absolutely thrilled to have Mar Della Greca, the founder and owner of TBM Marketing, joining us. Mar is a visionary in digital marketing, building targeted strategies for creators, events, small businesses with a special focus on film and book marketing. Through TBM Marketing, they're empowering brands with creative, emotionally engaging campaigns and a partnership-driven approach. We'll explore Mar's journey, how TBM Marketing is transforming brand visibility, and her vision for scaling this dynamic agency. So let's dive in. Mar, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely thrilled to have you on the show today. So, tell us, what got you started with TBM Marketing? Was there a specific problem or, challenge within, the digital marketing landscape that actually enabled you to want to start the business?
Actually, I don't have a glamorous story. Actually, my background is in chemistry. I have a degree in chemistry, and that's how I started my working journey in labs and all this stuff that now it's not relevant. And just for personal reasons, I found myself in a situation that I needed to work from home, and I couldn't live to have a normal schedule. So I had to find a way of building something, paying bills, and starting something completely new. So I started working because I had some background on marketing. I'm from Barcelona. So when I was there, I was working for other kind of companies. And I thought maybe I can do something with this. So the very beginning is extremely humble. It's a starting from zero with zero. And I started networking with publishers and authors. That's how everything started, actually. It went really well. People were really happy. The word of mouth was really quick via socials, via Facebook. So I didn't have any kind of paid ads strategy of anything. It was completely organic. And the working with publishers and authors that quickly evolved to screenwriters. The screenwriters went to filmmakers to producers to distributors. And it's really been a very organic evolution. I started working with a team. We work with freelancers all over the world, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's how it started. And now we work for producers, distributors, filmmakers, normally with productions that are more than 1 million budgets, more or less, for you to know the scale. But we've worked our way up there. So we are the key position between a production that needs to be ready for market, or distribution, acquisition, or that maybe they need capital strategy to get funds or to find ventures that want to invest. So we are the key piece between all that process.
I love that. I love the way you evenized it to really just being that, central nucleus, because I know you have a background in chemistry. That's my degree as well.
Yes.
Yeah, here we are today doing this podcast, which is phenomenal. Right? It goes to show that everyone has different walks of life. Sometimes you start doing something that you don't end up doing now. So you are essentially that nucleus between the producers, the filmmakers, to really provide everything on that front with marketing, PR, and ads. Now, there are a few things that you mentioned, very diverse offerings on that front. What is that core offer, if you can share with the listeners, and even clients that might be tuning in, summarize that, 1 or 2 sentences, what your core offer is, what makes you unique as, a company. I'd love for, you to share that with our audience today.
Yes, we have normally 2 ways of working with the creators. One of them is a straightforward PR package for films that normally works well for launches, for when they are in festival circuits, for example, that they want a boost. So it's a closed, very efficient, easy package that they pay a fee and they get coverage in press, in media. So that's one of the ways, which is normally how all the indie filmmakers come to us, because it doesn't really exist anywhere else, something that is so straightforward. You have agencies that I run your social media and I do this and I do that, but then everything is very diffuse. So I try to aim the shot until I found the perfect combination in the curve of it's efficient, it's affordable for indie filmmakers, and that's one of the ways. The other one, which is the one that I enjoy and is the core of the business, it's executive consultancy for bigger ventures. And when they are productions that they don't need marketing or PR, but they really need a capital strategy or distribution strategy across all their projects, or a strategy very specific for their needs that has to overlap getting funds, getting distributor, or even getting the professionals that they need, because we work with a closed list of excellent professionals that we provide and when they need. So this is the two core services that we offer right now.
Love that. Now, on that executive coaching side, from what it sounds like, that makes up a chunk of, your revenue today, in terms of like growth. Is this like more of a one-on-one, consulting approach, or do you have more of a group style where, let's say there are other bigger ventures that come together, you put them into a cohort model? And talk to us a little bit about the structure there on the engagement side.
It depends a bit on the size of the client, because some clients that are more middle-sized, maybe they have enough only with a one-on-one consulting, because what they need is a structure. That's what they need. They need like a perspective that gives them the roadmap, frameworks, even templates and all the guidelines that they need. So that would be just a one-on-one, because there's no need of making it more complicated than it already is. Because at the end, my goal is to make it very efficient for them, right? And not make it more complicated and overwhelming. But when the project is bigger and we have to overlap different professionals and different teams, then I have a team working with me, and we all match and overlap our work for the client.
Love that. So focusing on, leveraging other consultants, building those partnerships to help on the fulfillment side. Now, would love for you to share with our audience, your vision for scaling, especially with, your fulfillment model, where it's very customized, very tailored, depending on the venture that you're working with. How are you approaching that idea of scale, whether it is like productizing your offer to keep it, effective, manageable? How are you navigating that as a founder? What does that next step look like for you?
Well, it's something I've been working on the past year, because it's a bit tricky. The service that we offer, I mostly manage it because I'm the one organizing everyone. So when I think of scaling the company, I need to think of how I can keep offering an excellent service and still be scalable, and that means delegating. So to me, I would like to put together a team of people that can do what I do, because I need to be replaceable if I want to scale the company, right? So I need to duplicate what I do in other people, so I can make sure that there's more me's of this service. So this is how I'm organizing the next step.
Love that. And in terms of like some of those strategies, ideas, is this like an area where you feel like as a founder, maybe bringing an expert to help with, restructuring some of those things, giving you a perspective on how, exactly you can like create more of that sustainability so that you can step away from that founder role? Is that something you're also exploring?
Yes, absolutely. Because I think that not considering an expert that knows more than me would be foolish. Because just as I'm the expert in projects where they need my expertise, I need an expert from outside that has done this already, has escalated the company. So yeah, totally, yes.
Love that. Now, building your growth, I'd love to learn a little bit more about the way in which you're acquiring some of the ventures you work with right now, some of those clients. What are some of those channels, whether it's like paid ads, social media, word of mouth, referrals, like what's been working best for, generating leads through the door?
At the beginning, it started completely word of mouth. Then as the socials grew and our newsletter grew, that is a massive stream of leads, because we have our own audience, which is mostly filmmakers, creators, some producers, even screenwriters. So because the content that we share on our newsletter, we try to make it holistic, that if you're a screenwriter, you also find value on them. So the newsletter, the social media, organic, we don't pay ads. We don't make paid advertisement at the moment. And then our networking, because the kind of ventures or companies that I work with, there's a lot of people involved. So it's an executive word of mouth. Now, a lot of people come to me that actually normally people knocked at our door. I can't remember reaching out to anyone. And because the projects are big, if we were selling something small, I guess that you need like a huge stream of leads to to make it profitable. But our projects are very big. It occupies a lot of time on our team. So we have projects coming in all the time because of referrals, the newsletters, the shares on socials. And even though it sounds like a bit that it has no importance, I normally share a lot of stuff on my socials. Everything is related to our work. And a lot of my clients have come from seeing my post, like on LinkedIn or on Instagram, and they just reach out like, hey, I have this project and I need help. So that's mostly how we get all the clients.
Love that. I actually want to get your thoughts on this. We've had a guest the other day who runs very similarly a PR agency. And one of the things they mentioned was, especially with word of mouth and referrals, a lot of these leads are very high intent and, there is that personality aspect, which is huge. But oftentimes, it's not always like the most predictable way to generate leads to the door, especially because it's super manual, even with social media, LinkedIn, having to be there to always post and make sure that, you're getting that acquisition. How are you navigating that as a founder? I mean, what kind of your thought process there? Are you looking at other avenues in that sense as well to build predictability into the business? Would love to hear your thoughts there.
Actually, one thing that I don't like, or at least I haven't seen an approach from our perspective that could work, it's like the cold outreach, like this lead generating kind of agencies, because I don't think it works on our niche, right? Because especially filmmakers, like for example, producers or bigger companies, they don't get to you through a cold outreach, right? If they need a service, they Google, they search, they network, and they find you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really work for us. And also, to me personally, it's difficult for me to trust one of these companies that do that, because I see horrible things done out there. Like I receive cold outreach, tons of it every day, and it's horrible. It's like I would never fall for this, So it kind of, it's just scary to think that that could be associated with my brand, because I built it like with a lot of, it's like a clay piece. So one thing that we work on is with partnerships, because we have partnerships with producers, with key artists, any kind of professional. We have partnerships. So with a few of them, we work just as a freelancers. Hey, there's this job and you're the guy to do it, or we cross promote, right? So a lot of clients, they come from our partners. It's a kind of closed net, not closed because it's private, but closed because it's just right between us. So that is the, maybe not cold outreach, but something more predictable than just the word of mouth.
Yeah, 100%. I know, I think you're absolutely right about that, because especially in your niche and vertical, a lot of companies, right, you're uniquely positioned, but also it's like you're in that process of how can we restructure the offer in such a way to where that messaging is clear and it can actually target the audience. And then, I would say with cold outreach, it's like having a poised strategy to actually go out there and get that messaging, out there on that front. So yeah, but love the way you're thinking a little bit about, beyond that word of mouth, how can we start to streamline that process, create that system, right? So that you can, see more of that, consistency on that front. Now, in terms of like sales, walk us through what that looks like right now. Are you the one just having the sales calls? Do you have a sales team in place doing that? How is all of that structured right now within your business?
In the sales calls, it depends on the level of the company, right? Because for sales calls that are about the film PR packages and this kind of more, how would I say, more it's not automated, but that we have a very closed protocol and you don't need to be creative, that there's not a lot of things to get under control. Then we have the team takes care of them. So before it was me, and now it will be enough of our marketers or anyone who can take care of it. Also depends on the niche. Needs like a higher stake client, then I'm always on the calls, because it's never the same. It's not a protocol. I need to understand what they need, and I need to see if they are good fit, if we are a good fit for them, because sometimes it just doesn't work. And right now I'm the only one that can supervise that phase.
I'm curious. Yeah, and I feel like oftentimes, we talk a lot about it, is like with founders especially, having to still be involved on the sales side, still having those conversations. How is that, affecting your day-to-day? How are you navigating that as a kind of doing that operationally, dealing with fulfillment? What is your thought process there, if you can share?
Oh, my thought process is a jungle because it's difficult, honestly.
Yeah.
Even more because we have escalated in the last year.
Mm,
Like we are 4 times the size that we were.
mm,
Because a year and a half ago, I started like laser focusing on this, on getting higher clients, getting higher partners to be able to offer higher services. So we have loaded, and
yeah.
I'm still adapting to that change because one of the things, as you say, the calls, they were
Mm,
a problem for me
yeah.
because I went from being with smaller clients that need a lot of care, so to speak, because now they are insecure, now they have a problem now, and they are asking for calls. I had to
Yeah.
set a boundary there because
Yeah.
it's difficult for me to say no, but there's a moment that you say, I can't, it's completely, I can escalate this. It's unsustainable. So now I'm really only in the calls that are strictly necessary.
Mm,
And then we have the team takes care of one side of the project. Like I have the work very structured, and I'm only when I'm strictly necessary because it's a boundary that is really difficult to set with clients. It's
yeah.
really difficult because
Yeah.
we have this close conversation. It's their project, it's their baby.
Yeah.
It's difficult. If you work in a bank, it's easy
Yeah.
to just have this distance because you don't care about that person. You're just a number. But in
Yeah.
my case, you have a conversation that is insightful, that they see that you care about their project and you actually care and you want it to succeed. And then when the call ends, you need to set that boundary,
Yeah.
because it's a challenge. I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah, no, 100%. At some point as well, that sort of delegation would have to probably go to someone who
Yeah,
knows exactly that's
yeah,
my arena. We know how to, handle clients in that aspect, especially on the front end with sales, right? So that
yeah.
you can focus on like being that CEO, doing a lot of some of those higher level activities. Have you thought as well about, hey, let me just see if I can delegate this to maybe closer or maybe someone specifically on the sales side of things? Is that something in the works as you're looking at scale and growth this year?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's something that I need to delegate because there's too much behind the scenes that I need to do, which is only managing our partners, the teams.
Yeah.
And to me, well, it's imperative to
Mm,
find someone who can do this for me. The
yeah.
problem is that I don't have it yet because I think that I'm still in that stage that you're from zero to being at certain level that you need to start delegating everything you do except for supervising, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
That it's difficult because to me, I haven't found that person because it needs to be a person that it's from inside that
Yeah.
knows everything.
Yeah.
And for example, when a client starts talking to me and I ask for the goals I'm already thinking, I have this key artist that I can use. I have this partnership that I can pull a string. I can, like all this process
Yeah.
and then communicating all of that to the client because these people are busy people and they are, you need to have a certain level of knowledge of the industry of you need to be able to answer calls. You
Yeah.
need to be in these calls, they go from PR
Mm,
to social media to capital strategy.
yeah.
It's difficult for me. So I was even thinking of getting maybe 2 people to attend these calls,
Yeah.
because I can ask of someone to have the knowledge that I have because I have created this.
Yeah.
It's not, I can ask from someone to have all the mess that I have in my mind. And
Yeah.
that's not what I want for them because I don't want for anyone the mess that I have in my mind. So
Yeah.
maybe the solution would be to have 2 or 3 people attending these calls. One
Yeah.
people knows about capital strategy, the other one knows about marketing, the other one, and they can team up together to
Mm,
take care of these calls. I think that would be the best approach, and that's what I'm thinking of.
yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a couple different avenues, especially with,
Mhm.
it's a big struggle with, and it's good that we're talking about this, for the audience, where
Mhm.
founders, they have the subject matter expertise, they have that knowledge base on, what their business is, the core ins and outs. But,
Mhm.
there's always that trust factor of is there someone that I can bring into the organization that's going to operate at that same level as I do? And I think it always comes down to, because, we've had a lot of guests here and I've worked with a few coaches where it's like defining, what are the core pillars of, what you offer and, condensing that, summating that down to where it can easily be almost like delegated over to someone else to kind of execute and have those conversations. So that
Yeah.
makes it more and more repeatable in that sense. But, you're thinking about, how can I actually step away from being that person and like bringing in those experts to take my place essentially,
Yeah.
from what it sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Even more because that's the only way of growing.
Yeah.
The only way I can take care of acquiring bigger clients, because that's networking,
Yeah.
I'm taking care of the partnerships. The only way that I have to do that is to step away from being at the front.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't make sense to me to be there, actually.
Yeah.
And for the film PR packages, that's why I stick to these two pillars, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, my English. But because I don't want to make it complicated. That's
Yeah.
why we don't work with books or publishers anymore, because it's too much. What it was easy at the beginning, now it's too much.
Yeah.
So I had the thought of bringing someone in for sales, for example, to sell the PR package, because it's closed. It has a very specific description, but I can't find anyone because it's a very specific need.
Right.
And the people who have come to me, one of them, 1 million cold outreach that I receive every day, sometimes on LinkedIn, someone pops up that says, hey, I'm a salesperson. I'm looking for a specific role. It's not an agency.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, this is what we do. And they're like, oh, filmmakers. Oh, no, maybe not, And there's a ton of filmmakers. It's not that there's no market, but I think that they feel they don't know enough the avatar, And I think that they are actually right, because filmmakers are artists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And artists they have a lot put on their projects. They have all this love and all this passion, and a lot of them need a conversation and need so it's not easy, the cold outreach for them. So that's why that kind of sales, I left it to social media, to organic, like all the traffic that we have on the website, because I'm still figuring out how to escalate that, if I want to escalate it, because maybe there's a moment that I think I was leaving that option because it's affordable for filmmakers.
Yeah.
Anyone can have a decent lunch with media coverage and, have the film is important. They have been working for a long time.
Yeah.
But if I don't find a way of escalating that, I'm not sure I'll be able to keep that service.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, oftentimes, with salespeople, like, obviously the cold outreach approach wouldn't work. Like the salespeople want to work with organizations, companies that are more familiar to them, right? They definitely, maybe partnering up, a recruitment service, some sort of agency that can actually match you with, someone who has like a creative background, maybe that kind of being that approach, but, still thinking on the delegation side, that's where your thought process is. Couple last questions as we wrap up, we're in the lightning round. What's like your vision over the next 6 to 12 months as you're really looking at scale and growth? Do you have any revenue targets, any, performance milestones you're looking to hit? Paint that picture for us.
My vision, like my unrealistic vision board in my mind, is that I would like to put together a real network of professionals that can bring projects to life. And I know that if you're in the industry, you've heard that a lot, because we say this a lot. It's all yapping. Like we're putting together, but then nothing works because there's no capital behind it. There's no structure. There's no real important partnerships, So to me, now we are building big projects. Our partners are amazing with very important projects for the next 3 years. And to me, I would like to build a network of filmmakers, producers, distributors, and capital ventures that can really bring projects to life, finding their own resources in that network, without having people offering you, like asking you to work for 3-4 months for equity or for a producer credit. No. Here we pay, we do an amazing job, and I would like it to work for everyone. So that is my vision for the first few years.
I love that. Really focusing on building like a mutual exchange of community.
Exactly.
How can we actually bring this together to create like that the ideas right at hand,
Exactly.
Ventures. I want to actually get your thoughts on, really how you see the digital marketing industry, being a very popular vertical, evolving in the coming years, because your focus is on film and book marketing. How is TBM marketing positioning itself for that type of future?
Actually, this is another project that I've been working on, because I think that my problem that has been so far, it's been too quick evolution, like being from zero to the level that we're now in a year and a half. Honestly, our social media are completely organic because I haven't had the time to even think of it. So I would like our social media to be a place of education and free resources. Actually, we have a ton of free resources for filmmakers on our website everywhere.
Yeah.
And I would like our social media to be a source of value for filmmakers and people who are trying to make it in the industry. So this is actually something I'm working on right now.
I love that. And then what's the best way for, clients and the listeners to get in touch with you and learn a little bit more about the community you're building at TBM Marketing?
Okay, for me, it's very easy to get in touch with me because I answer everywhere. If you look at my name, Mar Della Greca, it's like on link because the last name, it's very unique. So it's very easy to find me just if they Google me. I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
My email is mar@tbmmarketing.link, but they don't need to remember that because it's everywhere. So wherever they reach out, I answer.
Amazing, amazing. On that front, that wraps up an inspiring episode of Founders Future. Mar, I can't thank you enough. It was an absolute honor and pleasure having you on today, really sharing, really the world of filmmaking and exactly what you're doing there to help a lot of ventures grow. I'm excited to see that runway 2025. Hopefully, you can delegate more and, build your team. Yeah, on that front, to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also check out Mar and TBM Marketing at tbmmarketing.link to explore a little bit more about their creative marketing services and for more resources and insights. And if you're interested in scaling with closers, we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. You can visit us over at closers.io. Until then, everyone, keep climbing, and we'll see you all on the next one. Mar, once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.